European Union, World Bank, NAPTIP, they don't give with state government better gbosa on top wetin dem dey do to stop human trafficking katakata, and dem come still call other states say make dem copy dis style wey we state government dey do to take end dis illegal migration matter. Edo state government wey dey under di administration of ogbonge governor Godwin Obaseki don collect better sanakata from European Union on top all the work the one wey dem dey do to take stop all the people wey dey with state wey dey waka go Libya through leg matter, and this one e no end their life well. Dem talk all this one for the program, the one when dem call together all the stakeholders wey dey on top how to manage illegal migration, when dem come call am the second roundtable dialogue on top managing migration through development program, that na the MMDP. Governor Godwin Obaseki, e come talk for this second roundtable dialogue. He said this one na the extension of the first roundtable dialogue, the one wey shele for Abuja, where all the stakeholders wey be say dem reach over 100 participants wey dey on top how to tackle this matter. Na in all of dem talk on how to stop all this illegal migration matter, and dem ready gidigba for we state to fight am, on top say they go join hand with other stakeholders to tackle this issue.
We have accepted that human trafficking and irregular migration is a problem. But as a government, we are determined and we have the political will to deal with it. We realize that we cannot do this on our own, and that we have to define common interests and find common ground for all of us stakeholders who are interested and concerned about this issue. The roundtable essentially is aimed to first understand what we as Edo State are doing to tackle the issues and the strategies which we have adopted on using the 4 thematic pillars to review the problems. It's also meant to help us identify concrete areas of collaboration as stakeholders. We want to move beyond rhetoric and agree on specific action plans and timeframes. From the Abuja Roundtable, there were several outcomes, which included the opportunities for us to collaborate, because we now have a fairly extensive database of several organizations and individuals and institutions who are interested and involved in tackling these problems. It also has created a platform for us with stakeholders to collaborate, particularly as several stakeholders may be doing things within the same issue area. And it also afforded us the opportunity to think about how we can coordinate the activities of the several agencies who are undertaking several diverse activities. Benefit of this collaboration, we hope to be able to avoid duplication, improve efficiency, and manage the scarce resources which are available to tackle this problem. We want to appreciate the efforts of the European Union and the World Bank for their investments in this laudable project. In the bid to make Edo the Silicon Valley of the south-south of Nigeria, we've created what we call Edo Innovates, which was set up in June this year to engage youths and entrepreneurs. We've also had partners like the DAI through NID, the Oxfam International, Google, and Microsoft, and several others. And all the efforts of all of these interventions and groups have helped us to create over 270,000 people who have benefited through jobs and opportunities. One of the major recurring recommendations from this session was to establish a mechanism to coordinate the partnerships within the program, especially given the diversity of the stakeholders who are potentially involved in the issue areas. Although these positive outcomes offer us green shoots of hope, there are still large gaps to be closed and huge resources required to make impacts in achieving the common goals to tackle human trafficking and irregular migration. Through the MMDP program, We set up a steering committee which was led by Edo State government with the EU and the World Bank as active members or partners. And this body is to help advise and guide us, on how we can foster the partnerships of all of us who are involved in or interested in the issue of migration. Like I said, a number of outcomes have been born out of the meetings of this committee, which include the need to develop what we call a coordinating matrix, which will serve as a framework for streamlining the efforts within the migration and anti-trafficking space in Edo State. We cannot work together effectively except we know who is doing what, where they are doing what who they are doing, and how they are undertaking their activities in Edo State. So this matrix is essentially going to be a portal, initially a website, but eventually a portal, where everybody who is doing anything in the space of, or that involves human trafficking or irregular migration can let us know, throw in their information as to what they are doing, what programs they are undertaking, and where, no matter how remotely those programs are, so that everyone can see what they are doing relative to what other people are also doing in the space. And that, the availability of that information will help each person who is undertaking some activities adjust or adapt their programs to.
European Union ambassador to a country, an economic community of West African countries, Nana ECOWAS, Ketil Kanzen. Now he can thank with President Muhammadu Buhari and our Governor Godwin Obaseki, where we say in see how they don't put better body for this matter.
I think it does demonstrate that the recipe that the governor has described, the approach, the comprehensive and holistic approach that we see in Edo State is the right one. I think it does demonstrate that increasing awareness, curbing the chains of trafficking, whilst at the same time investing in job opportunities, investing in people, is the right way forward, and it has an impact in terms of changing irregular migration. But if we don't cement that effort, if we don't institutionalize that effort, if we don't fill the gaps that the governor mentioned in his eloquent speech just before, then we will only see more migrants in the future. We have tried to step up to the challenge. We have tried to identify the ongoing activities that are already here in Edo State. And I think we are doing better now by being transparent and by including our activities in the matrix, and by guaranteeing that every next step that we take will be in exactly that vein and in that spirit too. Where, of course, we try to define a legal framework about the return of irregular migrants, but whilst at the same time investing in migration institutions and investing in youth and job opportunities. So the European Investment Bank, just to mention one example, has stressed their willingness to increase their investments in the order of $1 billion within the framework of such an agreement. And just for the comparison, the entire investment at the continental level of Africa last year was $800 million. So this is a very significant leapfrogging Nigeria into a bold first place in terms of investment.
Minister for Foreign Affairs matter, Godfrey Onyam, will be saying that Martins Eze na he can represent him on top this roundtable dialogue. Now he can talk say, on top how the returnees want to settle, how their body want to cool well for we country. He said they did the out of the federal government, and this one now waiting we say we states they tackle, we country they fight every day. Unto say this one no be matter we say na just for federal government or for state government. Na matter we say everybody go need throw away body put away.
Ensuring dignity and support for return and resettlement of Nigerian migrants is at the heart of the current discourse between Nigeria and the Western partners on migration and mobility. The fight against human trafficking and irregular migration It's an issue that the federal and the state governments and other stakeholders are attacking different fronts to see to the stemming of the ugly trends. Irregular migration and human trafficking phenomenon have recorded tale of woes in many families in particular, and in Nigeria in general, that all hands should be on deck to drastically curtail, if not stop the development.
On top of the launch of this MMDP, Dr. May Ikiora, the program manager for the MMDP, she can't explain what the MMDP mean, why them launch am. He can't talk say the way we state, they respond, they give this human trafficking matter. Now go make them come carry this round table come, because this MMDP coordination matrix, it go help them for what what they call information exchange, division of response, and it go help them to get better result, because when everybody they throw away their idea join together for one table, now it go make them know where they want face, which area they want tackle, and now this matter I want to end.
But I'm also sure that some of you are still asking, what is MMDP? The Managing Migration Through Development is essentially an interpretation of the Edo State government's subnational response to the problem of irregular migration and human trafficking. It does this across 4 pillars, which His Excellency has mentioned before, in the resettlement of migrant returnees, the reducing irregular migration through skills development, addressing human trafficking, and prioritizing the development of at-risk communities. Many of us here today already work very hard across these thematic pillars, but often fall prey to the risk of duplication of efforts, inefficient use of resources, incoherent and contradicting interventions, which could all lead to a less effective response. Platforms such as this roundtable, amongst others, reemphasizes the recommendation of the global framework of action in tackling irregular migration and human trafficking, which is that coordination and cooperation is essential in making a difference in addressing these issues at all levels. The sort of coordination that we preach today is that which would enable information exchange, better strategic planning that is evidence-based, division of responsibilities, and sustainable results. To ensure this, it is often recommended to establish systems or mechanisms of multidisciplinary cooperation and coordination among stakeholders. For MMDP, we are doing this through the coordination metrics.
On top of all the plans to engage the youth with the state, European Union Ambassador Keti Kazen, now he come waka this waka with Ukinebo Dare, Senior Special Assistant to the State Governor on top skills development and job creation matter, and many other people will be say they come waka go the Edo Innovation Hub, go use their eye to see wetin dey happen for the Innovation Hub.
Particular hub is being run in partnership with the federal government. It's called the South Innovation Hub. So startups, different startups get access to finance, get training, get access to investors, they get legal services, HR services, accounting services, all of that in this location. So, and then it's just multiplied across. We also have a program where people from Edo State have succeeded in different fields, have come together and are running a pitch competition to give businesses investment of up to $1 million.
They consider the people where they call the fusion energy, people will be said then they do solar energy. When we say them, these people, them they train under the Edo jobs. Them too, they do graduation for 100 people where them don't train. And inside these 100 people, 4 people don't start their own company on top solar energy.
These young people here are graduating from a training on solar panel installation, and they're getting their starter pack so that they can pick up. This is also under the skills development program and under pillar 2 of the MMDP. And the best thing about this program is that the trainers, the people who train these participants were participants of the previous solar panel training, and they come together, started their business. The people we worked with on this training, they were also trainees from Edo Jobs who participated in another solar panel training and now started their business, and now they're training others. So today they're graduating actually and getting their starter packs.
For inside innovation hub, now they still see the people where they call the genius hub. When we say them too, they do graduation for the people where they don't teach wetin but they call skills acquisition. On top how them go get work for hand. On top the many things where they happen for the innovation hub, now they constantly with secondary school students them. When we say they gotta put them, they give them wetin but they call sensitization. On top how them go take apply for the Young African Scholars Program, the one where Yale University wey dey Tadagirigba put for them, and all these ones na they come gather many students for different schools.
Here say a very big and very good university where they abroad they do Young African Scholars Program. For this Young African Scholars Program, they will select young people where they got to serve, where they go give scholarship to come attend their university abroad. And we want to make sure say the people for Edo State, the students for Edo State, say they sabi say this thing they happen, this thing don't happen, say they don't know. And then even when they don't sabi say they happen, they know how to apply well. So what we do here today, we don't call students from different schools and their teachers to teach them about the form, teach them how to apply the form, how to apply for the form, what to write for the form, and more importantly, we want to make the teachers, when they go back to school, make the teachers go teach the other students. We get students from about 6 schools where they for this state. And we go still do more sessions with just teachers for the next set, so that everybody go know about this program and they go feel apply. We won't make our people they travel out of this country the legal way and the right way. So we want take His Excellency, we bring out to our notice say this thing they happen, and we talk say make we teach the young students where they state how to apply.
The British Tobacco American Nigerian Foundation, the one where Abimbola Okoya na him come be the oga patapata. He can't come with the people where they genius sub than people will be said and them train the people for we state on top how to get work for hand. Now they come with government house for Benin City here, come pay the governor a visit, the one way they call courtesy visit. And they come begin they explain with their mouth the plans where them get, waiting them won't do, how they don't take help with people where they will state. Now Abimbola Okoya come they explain why we state government need to allow them partner with them and the things where them don't do and the plans where them get for the youths with the Edo State.
We heard the clarion cry and we decided to be part of the change that is needed here. So what we did is that we contacted the Edo State Trafficking Against Humans, and then we also contacted Genius Hub to see how we can work with your government staff in terms of creating wealth here in Nigeria. So the project is called the Wealth is Here campaign. The idea being that, there's this idea of people wanting to travel to see the greener pastures or to create wealth for themselves abroad. But we wanted to bring the idea that wealth is here. And there's a way we can empower our citizens so that we can tap into the wealth that exists here. So what we've been doing is that we've been working with your government, sir, in empowering the returnees. So we've been working with about 100 returnees in terms of building their capacity in areas of their interest. So we've been looking at different areas, such as technical skills. So looking at makeup, tailoring, welding. The idea in which we took is to focus on areas or interests that they're passionate about. Because we don't want an initiative which is not sustainable in terms of we come, we give the empowerment, and after we leave, it's not running on its own. We want to have success stories where in about 4 or 5 years, we can come back and see how they've grown in terms of the initiatives. So what we did is that we had a 3-month intensive capacity building in which we did with the beneficiaries. And then today marks and symbolizes the ceremony in which we will be handing over some of these empowerments. So that means for the tailoring, we'll be giving them sewing machines. And then for the bead makers, we'll be giving them beads. So those act as startup kits. Because it's one thing to build capacity, there's another thing to empower.
Governor Godwin Obaseki can't listen to everything when them talk. Now he can't tell them say he happy well. Say people like BATN, that are the British American Tobacco Nigerian Foundation, they don't constantly tell them and they constantly tell them how they won't take work with the state government. Say this one sweet them for body and he happy to work with them. Say we state government ready to work with them on top the skills where they won't provide and the many things where they won't give the people. He said, but this will not be about the skills alone. Say after then give these people skills, them ready to they give them what they call markets value wey be say everything wey they don't learn, they go see people wey will come, they patronize them, they follow them, they buy all these things.
One of the first things we've done about trafficking is to admit that it's a problem and then deal with the root causes and try and help victims because, like I say, if they knew better, they would not have taken the routes they did. We are very keen on working with you in providing technical skills, in providing support, in providing training. However, we are trying to move from that paradigm where we expect that everybody is equally endowed. So when you train someone for 3 months and you give them some startup pack, it's not a guarantee that they will succeed or they will not go back to being trafficked. What we are trying to emphasize is linking them up to markets, linking them up to opportunities, so that those, equipment or the training you've given them, they can nurture it and grow with it. Because it's one thing to have a skill, it's another to be able to run a business. So it's one area I think we could look at. Fortunately, our skill, or we have, someone who deals with that from our Office on Skill Development, where our emphasis today is to link people with training to market opportunities or to jobs.
After they finish for this courtesy visit, now in the waka go the banquet hall, the one where they with state government house, where they can't go give all these people where they don't train certificate and many things. Where the one where they call starter pack, waiting them go take start the skills where they don't learn. Emmanuel Uso will be the Commissioner for Wealth Creation, Cooperatives and Employment. Now he can represent your Ogbonge governor for this certificate matter. Come begin they explain, give everybody where they there the things where we state get and the things where we state get to give the people where they there. Where we say they don't need to they come up for here because waiting that they find they go abroad. If they we state here, it boku wewe.
Our policy thrust on creating jobs is not just for us to give capacity building, but also match the jobs that are available to persons who are showing interest to be trained. May I pause at this moment to appeal passionately to you not to sell these items, but to ensure a justifiable use that will take you to the next level of progress. The skills you have acquired can set you on a pedestal to glow for global recognition and appreciation. But first, you'll be needing the right attitude to turn on the light before it can glow. I have the assurance that you can make a lot of difference to the global economy and attract the right dividends to yourselves and our state. But to say that there are varied opportunities in Edo State, be it the hub, not just of Nigeria, but the hub of economic activities of Nigeria. The reason we say that with emphasis is that the opportunities available in Edo State is nowhere else in any other state. Others are limited in terms of land, location, size, mobile use, and the infrastructural needs, especially energy resource, is huge.
Just say somebody say you come from Edo State. The next thing, they're going to look you with one kind of bad eye, saying these people are social prostitution that they do and all that. So this our government confess say the thing not they sweet us at all. They be know us for better thing. How come all of a sudden now so bad thing, prostitution and all that. So when they come begin to say even our people they die for there, they enslave them. Our Ogbonge governor can say may they bring them come back because our people say hand not the bad so they make you cut and come off for body. So when they bring her, we know say they're supposed to do something. Who care what thing they do? You know, carry themselves, they go zozo. So now we say when we don't bring them come back, don't say to them, we don't give them that assurance, say, we know so now make mistake. Everybody they make mistake now, but it's not enough to just abandon them. Now we can organize all these different training for them. And when this British American tobacco company say, I don't say they're already well, but they do better thing. Now they come say, okay, take two, they go join hands. I know say if plenty people join hands to carry load, the load they easy to carry. So we feel say the people that don't train now, they don't see give them wetin they will take start. Because if you train somebody, you know empower and a rubbish show. So as they train this one, you say you see them, people where they sew. This month they come now, guys you go there, go make clothes. They design beats. I know that sometimes they design beats for you, not only you go feel wear for occasion, another person not go get the time. And even the makeup kits these days, you know they see women way of being now. Everybody they do makeup. And if they do that makeup for you, the cheapest one are 1K, and that's not the light one. Some they do as much as 70,000, 80,000. So who get that one? You don't go tell this talk say you want to enter Libya road, they go suffer. So now what will they do today? And they suit me well. Say at least they give them something to take start. And we don't promise that if they produce, we go help them, they forward that where they go to collect them from us. Because if you do something, then they take them for your hand, but we go they sweet you.
What I get to tell people of Edo State is say, not be only women, even men, even married people say, when they say they don't feel make and they don't do white collar jobs. White collar job na job when we say you go to work for inside office. Hard work, now if the money take. With hard work, nowhere where you no go fit go. Money there inside every day, now you allow go just enter your account. Before you know, you not go able money when you go make for white collar job. Say you go check how much you go make for your handiwork. Because you say that the one when you make for your handiwork, now every times 10 compared to the one when you make for white collar job. And it is flexible. You can do anytime when you like. You can do any other. You can do up to 5 things at the same time. And you go still campaign. The money go there enter, go there flow. You go still there able to give job to other people.
And here we see all the Tory reach, all the ogbonge thing where they happen for we state. As they be for we state, how we government done the waka for una matter. My name na Nima Shagumo, and I'm in the yarn this ogbonge Tory give una on top till live media.